It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbing Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. Great to have you here. As you can see, I'm trying very hard to control my emotion. I'm very excited, like most Nigerians are after the Super Eagles made us proud yesterday and on the brink of qualifying for the second round of the World Cup going on in Brazil. Congratulations to them. We're going to be talking about that much later on in the show. But as usual, we're going to start off with the week that was, as we always do here on Rubbing Minds. And I have a special guest here with me to discuss some of the things that have happened over the week. Joachim Macebong, welcome back.
Nice to be here again.
Are you excited? How was yesterday for you?
Well, yesterday was a very fundamental thing that the Eagles did. It was close. The game was close. It was tight.
As expected.
Yeah, but they persevered as a group, and so they have a big chance of joining, I hope, Ivory Coast as well in the next round.
Yeah.
So they just need to concentrate and focus, and then finish off the job against Argentina.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about the Super Eagles much later on in the show, like I said, but I want us to go back, over the week that was, and we're going to start, of course, with the girls that are missing. It's day 69. That's 69 days. Yeah. Tomorrow it will make it 70 days since these girls were abducted from the government secondary school in Chibok. Not a lot of progress has been made since up until now. I think the most fundamental thing that happened over the week was Gordon Brown, who finally gave us names and faces to these girls. And for the first time, we can actually say, okay, these are the people who were missing. How important do you think that move is?
Well, what he did when he came down for the Safe Schools initiative to start it, to give security to schools across the north so that the students can learn in peace, at least and some sort of security. And then this day also published the names, put out their faces, to once again remind us that these children are still out there. They are still missing. The committee that was set up on May 6th to investigate the abduction submitted this report on Thursday. I think it took them about 6.5 weeks, 45 days to come up with the report. So what happens from here on is really anybody's guess. Everything points to the fact that they know where the girls are, but getting them out is now the problem, whether to negotiate or not, and all of that. But we have to keep it in our consciousness so that they aren't lost to us forever, because even one child is too much.
Yeah.
The Israelis went through Gaza for just 3 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't afford to let this kind of thing die.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been worried, of course, that, with the World Cup coming up and starting, it was going to overshadow things. And it seemed like it has. I mean, the hashtag has kind of died down a bit, because I'm talking about social media now, because, the World Cup fever has caught up with everybody and attention has kind of shifted. So hopefully the government is still focused on doing that. But one thing I think we all want the government to be focused on seriously is security as a whole. Yes. With girls missing, with people being killed, we've heard about, viewing centers being bombed. And yesterday, I think, we did hear about people being killed in a village near Chibok again. About 10 people, I think, were killed by Boko Haram. So these things are still going on.
They are still going on. And you have to ask yourself if we've learned anything at all. The kind of security that was available for yesterday's election in Ekiti, for example, shows what can happen when the Nigerian security apparatus wants to work. We have heard reports of them calling for help, but help doesn't come. People don't respond.
Yeah.
Why don't they respond? What are the problems? Is it transport? Is it men? Is it what? So so there are a lot of things that are going on. We are focused on the girls, and which is good, but there are other issues. There should be all of these rapid response teams that are able to go out and then repel these attacks, because people are making calls. They are calling some journalists to reach out to authorities for help. Yeah. Help is not coming. People are feeling abandoned by their government. And I'm not sure that is the kind of impression that we want to give.
Yeah. Well, security, of course, it's probably going to be the most defining sort of topic going forward with the elections, of course, in 2015. And as much as we're talking about the elections and politics, it's important to still focus on that and see what can be done, at least. Hopefully it doesn't get politicized. It would be nice if it get resolved. at least before then. But you mentioned politics there, and you talked about Ekiti State, and I want us to go to the election now that held yesterday. And kind of like a shocker for a lot of people. I mean, it's not very often that you find an incumbent who loses an election. Even more surprising is the fact that incumbents considered defeat almost immediately. And this morning he's congratulated his the governor-elect Ayo Fayose. This election has been very interesting for a lot of people because there's talk about Fayemi having performed, but so why did he not win again?
It only surprises people who have not been paying attention. Fayemi had engaged in a back and forth with civil servants and teachers in Ekiti for about 18 months to 2 years. He asked the teachers to take competency tests, the results of which resulted in shake-ups that left a lot of bad blood. There was also talk about implementing salary scales for health workers, for teachers as well, for civil servants as a whole. And so he found out that apparently the state couldn't pay. So he had to now have a settlement with them, following which he would now pay the rest of it as agreed. So you have a case where there's been a lot of bad blood with people who constitute the majority of the people who are going to vote.
Yeah.
So for a long time, they had already hardened their stance against him. And it didn't also help that he is not really very good at connecting with the average voter.
Yeah.
So that hurts him, and he's done it throughout the time he's been there. So you are going to take on this interest group, you want to reform, you want to make change, but then you find out that you don't have any allies anywhere.
Yeah.
And so when things begin to get bad, there is nobody to plead your case, there's nobody to get on your side. And so it really was just a referendum about Fayemi, not necessarily a vote for Ayo Fayose, not necessarily.
That's very interesting because most of the things that you pointed out there, when I've heard about his conversation with teachers and all of that, I know those are some of the issues also that Governor Adams Oshiomhole had in Edo State when he was going to be re-elected.
Yes.
He was they faced off with teachers, there were workers' issues and all of that, but he still managed to do it. So what did Fayemi not do? What did he do differently?
What happened with Oshiomhole is Adams is actually popular. You know that as a labor leader, you have a skill set that is not that is hard to come by when you are someone in Fayemi's position. As a labor leader, Adams must have learned a lot of things: how to connect with people, how to get people on your side, and everything. So he's actually a popular person. What happened was he knew he couldn't fight that battle he wanted to fight in the first time, so he deferred it till after he got re-elected. And as you can see, he's going about it with a fair bit of focus. Fayemi initially said about a month ago, 3 weeks ago or a month ago, that he would pipe down on the competency test, but then by then it was too late.
Yeah, people
so
had made up their minds.
Exactly, made up their minds and all of that. Exactly. So he probably took on that battle a bit early. He should have waited to the second time to address it and address it fully. Yeah. But again, what's done is done, really.
Yeah. Just on the final note, very quickly, how do you think this affects 2015? Because I was looking at the papers today. I think it was this day. Their headline says Fayose wins Ekiti, and it alters 2015 calculations. Is this a big shift for PDP going forward?
I think we should be wary of such sweeping statements. The reason is when you see something coming from afar, you can then alter yourself to deal with the problem. APC now has a national outlook, and as such has to tailor its campaign toward that and ask what the people in each state what they want, and then ensure that they give it to them. Yeah. I think that we are not yet at that point where we can talk about a big shift. A big shift might be if Aregbesola got voted out in August, for example, which is probably not going to happen. So if you're talking about a big shift, well, maybe something like that, but I don't think we are there yet.
So are you saying this was a vote against Fayemi or a vote for Fayose?
It's a vote against Fayemi. He had a lot of enemies. He made a lot of enemies and not enough allies, in my view.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully, I think the most important thing for me in all of this was the fact that, at least with the election day itself, it was pretty much violent-free, because the run-up was pretty scary for a lot of people, and I hope that continues. Of course, kudos to INEC. They seem to have done a very good job with handling the election itself.
Hopefully, they translate that to national elections.
I mean, it seems to be progressing so far. Anambra was pretty, but with every election, it seems to be getting better. So hopefully 2015 is good. Thank you very much, Joachim. It's always nice to have you here. When we come back, we're going to be focusing on the Super Eagles and how they're doing so far at the World Cup. Please do stay with us.